Hi, I'm Steve Lias, and this video is to help you select your clothing for this summer's field seminar that you'll be attending through Alaska Geographic. The clothing that you wear is very important. The weather can be very extreme in Alaska. You never know whether you're going to have a sunny day in the 70s or whether it will suddenly cloud over and rain or even snow on you. The temperature can drop tens of degrees very quickly, and so your ability to stay safe, to stay dry, and do not get hypothermia depends a lot on the clothing that you bring with you. So let's start today by talking about the base layer. That's what you wear next to your skin, and I'm going to have to take off my outer layer so that we can talk about the base layer. I know everyone has preferences of their own about their underwear. You're welcome to bring along whatever underwear you're most comfortable with, something that's loose or tight, but please don't have it be cotton. Remember that cotton does not retain any warming characteristics when it is wet. And it can get wet either from the outside because suddenly it rains on you or you do fall down in a stream crossing, or it can get wet from the inside because you're working so hard you're perspiring. Either way, you need to not have cotton next to your skin. Actually, you need to not have cotton on you anywhere, because wearing wet cotton is like wearing a refrigerating device right on your body, and that can lead directly to hypothermia, even in surprisingly warm weather. So steer away from cotton. If you need a natural fiber, wool is great. Wool is great. It's a little bulkier and heavier, but it certainly retains some of its warming properties when it's wet, better than cotton does. Synthetics are also really, really good, and there are lots of advantages to those. So all the things I'm going to be showing you today are synthetic. So here I am, I'm wearing a pair of synthetic long johns, a nice bottom. Notice it's not skin tight. I tend to prefer that my bottom not be skin tight. You can experiment with different weights. The same is true of the top. This is a skin-tight base layer, kind of a standard base layer from Nike. There are lots of them available from lots of different brands, some heavier, some lighter. Now, I would caution you not to get something that's too heavy, because your base layer is the one thing that it's hardest to take off. So if you get out there and you're working real hard and the sun comes out and you discover that you're sweating, you don't want to have to peel down right to your skin to get your base layer off. It's much better to have a thin base layer and then some better insulating layers over top of it in case you get cold. So that's the approach that I always use. My socks, I'm wearing an advertisement for REI right now. These are REI socks, but they're typical of the sort of hiking sock that you would want, something that's either wool, the smart wool blend that they have, or a synthetic blend, something that is comfortable, hopefully something that you've used before to keep your feet nice and comfortable. I'll talk more about your feet in a little bit, but let's move on to what would go outside of this base layer. I'm going to start with a simple set of pants. These are ex officio pants. Standard kind of zip off at the knee pants, pretty inexpensive in the $30 range. If you wear these over top of a pair of long underwear, you're good to go. You don't need to spend a whole lot more money than that, and you can probably find this kind of pant from Patagonia or Columbia or ex officio at your local big box retailer, and I was just there this afternoon and saw a bunch of these on the clearance rack, so you very well may be able to get yourself a good deal on these. And these over top of some synthetic long underwear will certainly keep you warm. One thing about your legs are always the least cold part of your body. That's an important thing to remember. If you're getting cold, you're likely getting cold because your extremities, hands, head, feet are cold, or your core is cold, which is even more dangerous. So your thighs, your shins, your knees, you're hardly ever worried about them being cold, and when you're hiking, those often will be the first parts of your body to heat up. So I tend to not wear a lot on my lower body because that can get very uncomfortable. Now, another option, if you have a little bit more money, there are lots of sort of soft shell pants. Here's a pair from Marmot that I like very much, and then here's an REI pair, also terrific. Just a nice mid-weight soft shell pant. They'll be wind and water resistant on the outside, sort of drizzle proof and somewhat windproof, and the inside, many of these have a nice sort of cushy microfleece feeling inside that's somewhat like having long johns on. They're more expensive, but they're also more durable, a lot more flexible for a lot more environments. All of these are very good options. They are somewhat more expensive, though, than the original pants that I had on. So as we continue, I'm going to go ahead and put these pants on, just to show you a different option. Real nice, comfortable, pockets in all the right places. All right, so on the top, what would we put on top? Well, when we started out, I had this simple synthetic zip-up. You can find these all over the place. They're just basically jogging clothes. Make sure you get something that fits you well. If you want to zip up, that's great. This is not really an insulating layer. This is just a long sleeve shirt for a day that was a little breezy. Maybe it got down to 60 degrees and I wanted to be a little bit warmer. So this is something that's good to have along. Also, if you get up and it's going to be a really warm day all day long, this is something that you can use as your base layer and take the skin tight layer off entirely. This will give you a little more fresh air on your body and keep you from overheating. So this is a really useful multi-purpose top to have. You can replace this with a synthetic button-up shirt with a collar. Again, I saw some of those on the clearance rack this afternoon for $15. They would have been great layers like this. So there are lots of things that you could use in place of this particular one. Now, beyond that, you're going to want something to insulate you. This is probably the most important aspect of staying warm, and so there are lots of different insulating layers. I would suggest that the best thing, if you have the money, is to have some sort of puffy shirt. That's my technical term, puffy shirt. Here's a puffy shirt from the North Face. It's filled with the PrimaLoft insulation. I love this shirt. It's gotten me through lots of adventures. PrimaLoft is exceptionally lightweight and packs down very small. You'll notice that I leave a little baggy room in this shirt. You should, if you have an insulating layer, remember that you're insulating yourself with a few inches of air. And so if you get an insulating layer that's skin tight, you're not going to be as warm as you would be if you leave a sort of a little bit of extra breathing room in the shirt. So this is a really good option. The synthetic insulation is a better bet in Alaska in the summer than down. And I know some of you probably have wonderful down gear and you're welcome to bring it, but here's the word of caution. Down does not retain its warming capability when it gets wet, sort of like cotton, only down takes forever to dry. So if you have a really nice down pullover like this and it gets wet, that's going to take a few days to get back dry again, and it's not going to be keeping you warm when it's damp. So for that reason, synthetic fill is a much safer environment. Down works great if you're hiking or adventuring in a really arid environment where there isn't a lot of rain, or where it's so cold that you rarely have any precipitation that isn't frozen, snow or sleet. So that's a great environment for down. In this case, though, I always opt for the synthetic. So another thing that you could do with your insulating layer would be to simply use some sort of microfleece shirt. This is a very lightweight one that I have here. This one happens to be from Melanzana, but there are lots of other options. This also a little bit baggy, fits well, but has some room in it. It's not going to be quite as warm as the PrimaLoft shirt, but it's also not going to be nearly as expensive. So if you are looking for an inexpensive insulating layer, the best things to do are go check out just a regular department store retailer and find some inexpensive fleece. Anything that fits you well and isn't too bulky will be great. Or you could even go, I've heard of people going to the Goodwill store or a thrift shop and finding used wool sweaters. Wool is, again, a pretty decent natural fiber in terms of keeping you warm, so a wool sweater might be good as well. Don't bring a sweatshirt. A knit shirt that's made of cotton is going to be a disaster. If it gets wet, it's just like wearing a 10-pound weight that freezes you. So please keep your insulating layer something synthetic if you can, or perhaps wool. The last one I'm going to show you for insulated shirts is a Brooks range shirt that is my recent favorite. Again, this is also filled with the PrimaLoft, but you'll notice it has a hood on it. It's also got nice pockets. Hood is fitted. You can adjust it to the size and shape of your head. Nice to pull up on a blustery day. So this is a really, really terrific shirt. And like many of these insulating shirts, the pricier ones, they often come with a secret pocket that the whole thing breaks down into. And on this particular shirt, it's this breast pocket right here. And so I can pack up the entire shirt into that pocket and zip it up like so. Pretty neat, huh? So it goes down to pretty small, pretty light package, easy for carrying around when you're not wearing it. So that's a really nice feature of a shirt like this. So that's your insulating top layer. So the next thing you might need to know about is rain layer. If it rains, and it will rain frequently when you're in the backcountry in Denali, you're going to need to be able to get to your rain gear quickly, and you're going to need to be able to put it on pretty quickly without having to take off a lot of your other stuff. So having a rain jacket is terrific. Don't bring a heavy jacket. That's what the insulating layer is for. A really smart thing to do is have a rainproof windbreaker sort of jacket, perhaps with a hood, as this one has, that you can just whip out of a pocket of your fanny pack or something and throw on. This works really nicely. This is a fairly inexpensive jacket from Marmot. You can find, you can go to a store and easily find a $10 rain suit of very unassuming nylon top and bottom. That's perfectly good for a trip like this. As long as it's rainproof and windproof and packs down pretty small, it's a much better bet to do that than to bring a heavy jacket. A heavily insulated jacket is bad in this situation because you'd much rather be able to strip those layers off one by one and be insulated without the rain gear, or have rain gear on without the insulation. And so having these be separate is pretty useful. So here's another option for the upper half of your body, a pricier option. This is a different jacket from Marmot, and it, slightly more high-end, it's made entirely of Gore-Tex, and it's got these high pockets. High pockets are good when you've got some sort of hip belt on for a fanny pack or a backpack. It's got a nice hood. It's also fitted like the Brooks Range shirt was, so you can cinch it down to your head. Wind resistant, waterproof, really serviceable, great jacket. Again, you don't have to spend as much as this would cost to have an effective jacket for this adventure. I'm just showing you the full range of options. So what about the bottom now? It starts to rain, you need some rain pants. The one thing I'll say about rain pants is try to get something that will go on over your boots. Remember, you'll have boots or shoes, hiking shoes, and so having a pair like this happens to be a more high-end pair that has a zipper all the way down the side here. And that means that I could put it on laying on the ground. I could unzip the sides and just pull it around my leg and zip it back up again. It certainly will go on over a boot or a shoe. You don't need a pair that zips all the way up the side, but if you're looking for an inexpensive pair, see if you can find one that does have a zipper that goes up about mid-calf, and that way you can zip that up and try it on over your boot. You'd be smart, if you know what shoes you're going to be wearing, you'd be smart to take those shoes with you to buy the pants. That way you can make sure that you're getting the right thing. Now, if you don't want to spend all this much, think about the top and the bottom combination here, and let's do it a bit cheaper. For the bottom, you could probably get a pretty inexpensive pair of some sort of polypro or synthetic long underwear. You can probably find those online. Then you could get a $10 pair of rain pants at your local department store. That combination, the long underwear and the rain pants, actually could be all you need for most of the trip. I've hiked many times where all I had on were rain pants and long underwear. It's very comfortable. You've got a little bit of insulation, but a little bit of air. Very easy to wear that. So that's a pretty safe combination. If you want to also have along a pair of sort of standard Columbia or similar zip-off pants that can be a middle layer, so you've got the option of just the pants, or the long underwear in the pants, or the long underwear in the pants and the rain pants, that's pretty inexpensive and very effective gear. The one other thing you might want to have along is a pair of fleece pants, or maybe a heavier long underwear. This is a sort of a skin-tight base layer pair of fleece. There are lots of different fleece pants. You can get them just at a sporting goods store. And that might be good on a really, really cold day under your rain pants, but it's more likely to be a delight for you to come back to camp at the end of the day, take off whatever you've been hiking on, and pull on your fleece pants. They're really nice for lounging around camp at the end of the day. So that's the one other pant thing that you might want to bring. And remember, you don't have to go to an expensive retailer to get a pair of fleece pants. Look in the pajama department of your local retailer. Just a big box retailer is probably going to have either fleece pants in the athletic section or in the pajama section. Lots of people have fleece pants that they wear to bed at night. Let's move on to footwear now. Footwear is probably the most crucial element of this whole arrangement. If you're out hiking in the wild, you want to be wearing something that is comfortable, something that you're familiar with, and something that's going to wear well in the elements. And I've got 3 examples here, all of which cover the range of the types of things that would be available to you. I don't recommend that you try out a pair of shoes for the very first time on this trip. That can lead to really unpleasant disasters. So make sure that you get your shoes well in advance or use a trusted pair of shoes that you've had for a while. This is a pair of expedition boots. They're very, very heavy duty. They work when you're out for a week at a time. I think they're considerably more than is needed for the day hiking that you'll be doing with Alaska Geographic. If you have a pair of boots like this and you love to wear them and they're very comfortable, that's fine. You can bring them. They'll be great. But they're very heavy, and so every time you lift your leg up as you're hiking, you're lifting more pounds of weight than you probably need to be lifting, and that's going to wear you out a little bit quicker. Now the payoff is that they will keep your feet really dry and really warm, and if you kick rocks, you won't hurt yourself. So this is one option, but it's a bit of overkill. Let's go to the other extreme. The other extreme would be a sneaker style outdoor trail shoe. This is from Vibram. These are made of Gore-Tex, and so these are also water resistant. They don't provide as much support or ankle support as obviously a boot would, but they're a terrific shoe, and you could easily get by with a shoe like this. You have a higher risk of maybe your feet getting wet, but just make sure that you have extra socks with you and you'll be in good shape. Okay, so this is one other option. I will say I'm a huge fan of the Superfeet insoles, and every single pair of shoes that I own, including the shoes that I wear to work every day, have the green Superfoot insole inside them. I've just become completely used to the support that they provide. So the middle option for me, my favorite thing to do for these day hiking outings, is a pair of boots like this. This is just a standard leather pair of Timberland boots. You can see it's a bit worn out. I use these all the time. Very serviceable, very durable. They give me enough support in the sole and the ankle, but they're not incredibly heavy like the expedition shoes. So you can do any of these 3 options. All of them are appropriate. What you do need to consider, though, is comfort, durability, and waterproofness. Those are the things that are most important in the shoe department, so keep those in mind. Now, if your feet are prone to blister, and you probably know better than I do whether your feet are prone to blister, you might want to bring along a pair of liner socks. These are incredibly thin socks, and what they do is they cause any friction that is happening, any rubbing that's going on inside your shoe, is now rubbing between 2 layers of sock rather than rubbing sock against your skin, which is what causes the blister. So if you haven't ever tried liner socks and you do get blisters when you hike a lot, you might want to consider trying them. Just go to the shoe section of any outdoor outfitter and they'll be able to give them to you, or you can buy them online. Alright, a couple other extra things that might be useful to you. Let's first talk about bugs. When you're in Alaska in the summer, you will encounter bugs. And it could be very useful to you to have along this very tiny thing. This squishes down to the size of about an egg, and what it is a head net. And if you've got a hat on, this particular head net just pulls right on over it and keeps the bugs out of your face, which is really, really important. When they come out with a vengeance. Now, there are lots of varieties of this sort of thing. Here's one that actually has a hat built into it. It's been in a closet for a couple of years, so it's a very, very wrinkly hat, but also works very well. When you wear, if you've never worn one of these before, you will, in the first 20 minutes at some point, try to eat through it and then laugh at yourself. It always happens, I promise you. If you want to go even further down the bug protection avenue, they sell complete bug shirts. And here is what one of those looks like. It's got the netting across the top, a nice hood that unzips all the way across your shoulders so you can take the whole thing off and eat if you need to. And it's got mesh armpits and a cinchable waist here. The whole thing stuffs down into a pocket that's on the front, which you can use as a regular pocket when you're wearing it. Terrific product if you want to spend the money to really protect yourself against bugs. I think probably for this trip, this little thing or this little thing are a much better bet. They take up less space and they do the job for you. But I'm just showing you the full range here. If you get a bug shirt, please get a bulky one, because when you do need to put it on, the bugs come out suddenly, and you will probably want to throw it on top of everything that you're wearing. And so having one that's big enough to go on over top of no matter how many layers you're wearing is pretty useful. Let's move on to hats. You can get by with a baseball cap. This will help a lot. If it's a cotton and cardboard baseball cap and it rains on it, you'll be kind of sorry that you didn't have something a little more durable. This one's got nice heavy plastic and it's made out of a synthetic material. It also folds in the middle, so it goes into a pack or luggage really nicely. So that's a useful hat. Another very useful hat, and you'll see lots of people with these, is this wide brim hat. It's rainproof, it's made of Gore-Tex. And when you don't need the sides out for rain, you can just clip them up with Velcro. It's got a chin strap for windy weather to keep it on your head. Really terrific, very useful hat. This would be great for Alaska in the summer. This is another option from Marmot. This is a baseball cap style hat that is rainproof on the outside, and it's got a fleece layer on the inside. Very nice, very comfortable, and boy, when it starts to rain and the temperature drops really fast, being able to pull this out and pull it down over your ears is really nice, very helpful, and keeps you dry as well. Another thing, if you want something that's just going to keep you warm as you sit in the camp and think, or as you're walking around in a slight breeze, some sort of simple little beanie cap. This is a microfleece beanie from Melanzano, the same people that made the red shirt I showed you earlier. Very comfortable, very lightweight, easy to travel with. Or at the Murie Science and Learning Center, you can pick up the Alaska Geographic fleece hat. Also a wonderful hat, I wear it all the time. And you'll be a walking advertisement for the people that organized your field seminar. One other thing that people sometimes like to have is a baklava. This is very small. I bought this at a skiing resort. Very lightweight fleece, but it serves as a hat and a neck scarf very easily, very quickly. So this is very comfortable and useful. If you want just a necky, here's not a very bulky neck gaiter that can work on the neck or work as a hood or work as a hat. Can do all sorts of things. One of my favorites. So that's hats. Gloves. It might get cold in the evening. It might not. It's up to you whether you really want to prepare. Don't bring ski gloves. Bring something very small. Here's a lightweight pair of Under Armour insulating gloves. Very comfortable, very small, very lightweight. Here's a pair of fleece gloves, very similar. They're a little bulkier, but they're also going to be just terrific at keeping your hands warm, and if it gets breezy, you'll be glad you had something like this along. Glasses. It will be sunny and you'll want to shield your eyes. Having a pair of good sunglasses along is a really smart idea. Couple words of caution. You should try to bring along some sort of hard case for your glasses. This is a smart precaution because when you stuff things into a bag, it often will get crushed, and I've broken many a pair of glasses that way, 3 of them in Alaska last summer. Now, I want to plug one other idea. Since you're going out day hiking at Alaska Geographic, having some sort of fanny pack that you can tuck your stuff into is a really great idea. And this is a good-sized fanny pack from Kelty. I've had this a number of years and can't believe how incredibly useful it is in so many different situations. And I want to illustrate real quickly. Let's say that you were going out for a hike and you wanted to take along some extra stuff, just in case. So you want to take along a little beanie, a pair of gloves, let's say, your glasses, which will be in that case. You also want to take along a pair of rain pants and a rain jacket, and your insulating shirt. So these are all things that you want to take along. If you have a fanny pack like this, this becomes a really easy deal. You already saw how I broke this shirt down, so that stuffs really nicely in the bottom there. Can stick my beanie and my tiny little gloves in easily as well. The glasses can tuck in there. Then all I'm left with are the rain clothes. So let's fold those up as small as we can. Remember that when it starts to rain, you are likely to want to put on your rain gear really quickly. And so I tend to always keep my rain gear in an outside pocket of my bag so that I can get to it easily. So I've stuffed the pants in there. Let's close down this jacket. Again, the nice thing about these high-end products is they smush up into pretty small packages. I can put that in there with the pants and zip that outside shut. So now if it rains, the outside pocket of my fanny pack is all ready to go. I've got my glasses, my insulating shirt, my hat, and my gloves in there, and I still have easily a football-sized space to put my lunch. We usually pack a lunch on these day outings, and my camera, and maybe pen and paper to take some notes or write down my thoughts. So it's a really, this sort of fanny pack, really useful for the kind of outing that you're taking. If you have a small day pack that you prefer to use, a backpack, that's fine. I'm certainly not discouraging that. But it'll be a little more bulky than something like this, which is obviously very simple, straightforward, and solves the problem of how to carry around enough stuff without being too bulky. So that's the rundown on all of the different parts of this. Remember that the basic things you need to remember are don't wear cotton. Cotton will make you cold. In fact, some people go so far as to say cotton kills for exactly that reason. Wear synthetics or wool. Number 2, make sure that you take care of your feet. Bring good boots or shoes and socks that you're comfortable with, that fit you well, that you've used before. Don't overpack. There's a temptation, you're going to be out in Alaska for a long time, the temptation to bring lots and lots of clothes. You won't be happy that you did. Ultimately, once we get out into the wild, you're not going to want to change your clothes an awful lot. And it is far better to just wear your stuff for a number of days. We'll all get to smell a little bit together, and that'll be fine. Bring as many changes of underwear and socks as you want, but your base layers, you maybe need 2 of those, and one other thing. Just be thinking, whatever you're wearing right now, if it all got wet, you'd want something else to put on while it dries out. If you go beyond that to a 3rd whole set of clothing, you're probably overpacking, and that's just no fun when you're out in the wild and you have to carry your stuff around. So keep those things in mind, and I'm sure you'll do just fine. I hope you have a great experience with your Alaska Geographic Field Seminar.